Hi, and welcome to GRD167, Photographic Imaging 1. I want to take a quick moment and give you a video overview of this course for this semester. The very first thing that I'll mention is take this course entry quiz as soon as possible, right here on this top button. The first announcement is going to talk about this, because this is what locks in your attendance for an online class, so do not put this off. The grade does not get recorded in a way that affects your grade. You'll see it in the grade book, but it doesn't matter if you miss every single question or you get every single one of them correct. Again, it has nothing to do with your grade for this photography course. It is just an electronic method to track your attendance, specifically the entry for attendance in an online class is how the system logs your present and doesn't kick you out. So take 4 minutes and take the 10-question quiz as soon as you can, like right now. Definitely in the first day or two of the semester. So moving forward, the announcements, that's where I'm going to post probably weekly communications to you, just following up. I typically toggle those announcements to also trigger an email to be sent to you as a group. And let's go through some of these buttons real quick. So if you go to the Getting Started button, there's a quick overview of what's going on in this course. And this is a really fun course. It's very project heavy, so it's not a bunch of like tons of exams or anything like that. There are only 5 small quizzes that are as little as 10 questions apiece, then just one final exam at the end of the semester. And even still, those two, all the quizzes and the exam only add up to about 15% of your grade. The bulk of your grade, like 75% or so, you'll see that on the syllabus, comes directly from your projects. And they're about 14 projects, and they're really fun. And again, they're not huge projects. They're, most times you'll have like just 5 images to submit for critique to our Flickr group, which I'll get to. Now notice in Getting Started, here's another link to that same course entry quiz. You can click the link here and take the quiz, or you can click this button and launch directly to the quiz. Either way, read through all the tips for online students and course resources so you know more of what's available to you. This is me. My name is Gene Strickland, and I've taught photography for over 20 years now at college level, and I love it. Photography is really awesome. It's a great way to make art, to communicate, to make money. It's just such a powerful vehicle of expression and income generation. So go down to the lessons. The lessons button, basically the lessons are broken down by week. So as you scroll through here, again, there's just a quick explanation of my ideas of these photographic assignments. Make sure you review the attendance policy. But notice each lesson tells you exactly when it's to be delivered, which everything is being delivered on Tuesday evening at 11:59 p.m. Since the semester is starting on Wednesday, our weeks are really going to run Wednesday through Tuesday. But that may shift, in upcoming semesters. But this is where, in the lesson folder, this will tell you where your deadline delivery would be. So lesson 1 is for week 1. And I've identified the weeks for you over in another area. I'll get to that in a moment. So this is pretty common, what you're going to see in every lesson. The learning objectives are going to be at the top, kind of cover the things that you're going to learn this week, the task that you're going to be assigned for that week. And for this one, you have 2 things. You have to answer these 4 or 5 questions over in the discussion tab, which is right here, the collaboration and discussions tab. Here's an explanation of your first project. And then how to submit it, that kind of thing. So also notice there's a lesson review sheet for quiz 1, but if you open it, essentially while you're reading the text, the assigned text readings, which is in your syllabus at the very bottom, the last sheet, watching the videos for each week, I've pulled out questions and I'm letting you fill in the blanks on the parts that are missing. And these are great study aids. You don't have to turn these in. These lesson review sheets are study aids just for you, because sometimes I think it's hard for students to understand what's the most important thing they're supposed to be pulling away from the things they're reading it or watching. Another good benefit of these lesson review sheets, by reading the text, by watching the videos, and by writing notes down, this information is getting in your brain multiple pathways. So depending on what kind of learner you are, all facets of the learning styles will be covered in giving you this information. Okay, here's a folder for video and video links. I launch these in 2 ways. Like here, you just click on the title. I usually try to give you an estimation of how long it is so you can kind of plan if you have time to watch it or not. it would just automatically launch in a new window. I always like to go to the gear setting and make sure because I'm an image quality nerd, right? So I always like to make sure that I choose the highest video quality possible because I have a great internet connection. So I always like to watch everything, HD. I always like to make it a little wider, that kind of thing. You scroll down a little more, and here are just a couple of tutorials on shutter speed and aperture, like written tutorials for those that like to read and get information. If you want to do some housekeeping and it's too cluttered, those little arrows on the far right will just collapse everything. So you can just really quickly collapse these things so they don't bog you down too much, or collapse them after you've done them, however you want to do that. So I'm going to back up into the lessons folder, scroll down to lesson 2, because I wanted to show you quickly how I did the videos here. I loaded them with the title, the time, and the direct link. Now, for best results, you should copy the link like this, hit Control-C, and then come up to your URL bar, which is right here, and paste it. Hit Enter, and you'll go right to it. Or just click the link directly, but when you do, you're going to get this warning. Watch. I can't do it, it's outside the frame, but it still gives you the link. If you just click it one more time, it takes you right to the video. So you can kind of see what method works best for you. Let me back up just a moment and take a peek at lesson 2. So here there's a how to read a histogram. So if you uncheck that little triangle, you can kind of scroll through, and it tells you all the ways to understand how to read a histogram for both the luminosity and color channels. For here, photograph assignment, shallow depth of field or close up. Again, you just hit the drop down arrow and you get to read about what's expected of you for that assignment. So that's what's in the lessons. Collaboration and discussion. Currently, this is just a forum where you're going to answer that first question. Like, here's the first one you're going to reply to. I'm not going to set up a ton of discussion. Discussion is only worth 5% of your overall grade. So it will just be a minor part in the course, because a lot of actually every project that you upload to our Flickr group, you're going to comment on about 4 of your classmates' images, just giving them a brief critique. So now I'm in course resources. This is the link to the syllabus. And so remember, first week, complete that course entry quiz. Do ASAP. That's the biggest thing. And the rest of this is just like a little contract between you and I, so you know what to expect, what's required of you. You do need a digital camera. You can't take this with a phone camera, but it can be a point-and-shoot camera. It doesn't need to be an expensive DSLR. You definitely need, obviously, a computer, since this is an online class, some kind of storage media, a Flickr account, and again, only take up the free Flickr account. I'll go into more detail about this later. Here's the weighted percentages of all the tasks and the grade weights. And the most interesting part is all the way at the bottom. This is where I've broken down everything. So for those of you that like to see everything at a glance, this is the entire course right here, all 16 weeks. And I've identified the weeks for you. So January 6th through January 12th. So from Wednesday to Tuesday, that's week 1. And you're going to be working on a project 1. And the title of it's 360 degrees point of view. The topics we're covering is exposure triangle, using your light meter, and focusing tips. And project 1 is due at the end of this week, which, if you read the due dates, all lessons and photo projects and quizzes are due at 11:59 p.m. of Tuesday of the week indicated below, unless indicated otherwise. So this is week 1, so the last day is the 12th. That means project 1 is due on the 12th at 11:59 p.m. For this one, project 2 is due the 19th of this week, as it's identified here. But you have something due about every week, and that's because since you're in an online class, this is how they track attendance. And if you miss more than 2, I think it's if you miss more than 2 consecutive projects, or whatever, 2 weekly things, you're automatically dropped from the course. So make sure you don't do that. Make sure this course, trust me, I built it. It is built for your success, but you do have to do the work. So as you keep going down through the weeks, week 10, coincidentally, a lot of the projects align with the weeks. That's strange how that worked out, but it did. And the final exam is due on Tuesday, 11:59 p.m. There's nothing to do that 16th week, but prepare for your final exam. You also get 2 weeks to work on your final project, your last project. So require materials and supplies. Again, you have to have the book, pass the quizzes and tests, and understand how to get started. It's a really simple book. It's fun read. It's very light. Now, software for the class. If you click this link, you're going to go to the main page where it's like $50 a month to rent, but you're a student, so it doesn't cost students or teachers that much. So click on the student link, this little over to the right, and then it's only $19.99 a month to rent everything Adobe makes: Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, Premiere Pro, After Effects, and like 40 other programs. Now, if you're on a budget or you're not really interested in all the other programs this semester, you just need Photoshop for the next 3 or 4 months, well then just go rent Photoshop. They have a great photographer's plan, and that's what it's called. It's called the photography plan, and it's only $9.99 a month. And it will let you license or rent Photoshop on a monthly basis, and that's the most cost savings. Course resources, let's pop back in there. Now Flickr, well, if I haven't already created a Flickr group, I will, and the name of your group will be listed down here. If you ever have questions, just let me know via email. My email is on the top of the syllabus. It's right here, and it's other places in the course. I'm always available for commenting or answering your questions. Feel free to post questions in that group discussion area if it's like something that relates to everybody. The thing I'd say about Flickr is make sure you sign up for the free account, and make sure that the name on your account is a derivative of your real name. So if you're f-stop hero 32, I'm not going to know who that is when I go to grade your project, and I'll be grading off of Flickr. So instead, if your name is Jane Doe, use like J Doe or Jane D or something that still keeps it anonymous if you're concerned about that, but lets me quickly identify who you are. I'll also be putting up some videos later of how do you load images into Flickr, how do you create albums, how do you upload them to the group. That's coming. Make sure you go through these things. They're just the typical things that are in every single course in this department. And that's really the bulk of it. You can go through the rest of this and see the typical things that are in Blackboard. The only other thing I'll talk about here is the quizzes. Again, once you finish that first course entry quiz, which does not count towards your grade at all, these quizzes will be unlocked, so you'll have access to them. So you definitely, as I said, want to get that course entry quiz knocked out right away. So again, my name is Gene Strickland, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact me if I am listed at the top of your syllabus as your governing instructor for this semester. These videos may be used in other classes with other instructors, so if that's the case, just contact the instructor that's listed at the top of your syllabus. Well, I hope you enjoy the semester, and I can't wait to see what you guys do. Take care.